Okay, welcome back team. This is an express session for you that is going to have an upper body focus. I'm going to take you through a very short warm up and then we're going to get into 3 rounds of upper body work today where we've got gorilla rows, a little bit of a swing clean press, so you're going to get a little bit of cardio there as well, and then we're going to finish with some single bell chest presses, 3 rounds, working for about 45 seconds with some recovery in between. But let's get started with our warm up. You're going to need a light and a moderate bell for this warm up. So let's get started. I want you to grab a light bell to begin with. We're going to take some weighted good mornings. So you remember our good mornings are this hinge pattern. We're going to take a single bell. So pick it up and put it behind you. You're going to have the bell resting behind you. Your arms are nice and long. Your feet are in your good morning position. And then all you're going to do is send your hips back, push into the kettlebell and feel that stretch in your hamstrings before you push the floor away and stand up. So really we're just warming up this hinge pattern. We're going to take on a few hand-to-hand swings at the end of the warm up. So we just want to get our hamstrings activated. So just work through this. Nice and easy, keeping our nice neutral spine. So in the down phase, as your hip goes back, you want your chin to be tucked, looking down towards the ground, and then looking straight ahead of you at the top of the movement. We're going to take a couple more here. And really think about, as you stand up, push your feet into the ground, light up your quads and your glutes, right? So we want to activate all the little muscles that we can. Really thinking about whenever we're working upper body, we're thinking about what's happening with our lower body too, and taking every opportunity we can to create some tension. Okay, we're going to move here into some round the world. So you can watch me for a second and then join in. You're going to bring the kettlebell in front of you and switch hands in front and behind. So just take your time with this one. You want to try and stand up nice and tall. Again, pushing your feet into the floor, trusting where that bell is going as you just make that switch, keeping the bell away from your body. And then we're going to change direction. So you might want to do this as the bell comes in front of you, or just find a good moment to make that switch. Okay, last little movement we're going to take here. You're going to bring the bell in front of you, a little bend and a clean to bring the bell up into your chest, and then you're going to take some bicep curls. So you're going to just curl the bell down to the bottom and then bring the bell up. So we're really working biceps here, but again, squeeze the glutes, push into the floor with your feet, squeeze the bell handle in front of you. And really think about pulling the bell towards you, really working those biceps. And then on the way down, taking your time as well. So we don't want to be doing really fast reps here. We want to be doing nice, slow, challenging, controlled movements with full extension at the bottom, and then keeping those elbows nice and tight into the body at the top. Couple more here. We've been holding this bell for a little while now. So we're going to rest in 3, 2, and 1. You can just place the bell onto the floor to finish. Okay, 2 more movements to finish this warm up. We're going to take some halo presses, and then we're going to finish with around 30 seconds of hand-to-hand swings. So stick with your light to moderate bell. We're going to come and take the bell in a bottoms up position. So put your thumbs through the horns and bring it up onto just underneath your chin. Bring your feet underneath your hips. Send the bell all the way back behind your head, bringing it back to center, and then adding that press, engaging the lower body, getting that full extension at the top. You just alternate the direction of the halos, but we want full extension at the top, and then we want to be thinking about dragging the bell down. We're getting a nice bit of core activation in here as well. Push into the floor, legs are really strong. Driving that bell up. Opening up the shoulders in the halo. Final press, and then we'll bring the bell down carefully to the floor to shake out those wrists. All right, let's finish with some hand-to-hand swings. So here you can introduce your more moderate bell, and we'll take around 30 seconds So get your bell set up, and then we should be nice and ready for our main session. So set yourself up behind the bell. We want to try and hike up the bell with one hand, looking to make that switch at the top and just relaxing at the top where that bell changes hands. Okay, let's get ready. Good setup, strong position to start, ready to hike the bell up in 3, 2, and 1. Fast hike up, and then looking for that switch at the top where that bell just floats for a little second before you make that switch. Keeping that bell nice and high between the legs, making sure you've got a good knee bend as those hips go backwards, and see if you can get that opposite arm floating out behind you to help with that momentum and power. Also see if you can time your breath. So it's an inhale as the bell comes between your legs and an exhale at that full hip extension. Really nice set of swings to get us nice and warm. We are going to rest in 3, 2, and 1. Okay, take some recovery and let's get into our main session. Okay, so for our main session, we've got 3 different movements to think about. We're going to take each one for 3 rounds. You're going to be working for around 45 seconds, but I'm going to give you some suggested rep counts to work through. We're going to take gorilla rows for our first exercise. And so you're going to use your double bells for that one. Then we're going to take some swing clean to presses. Now the reps are going to be low for these swing clean to presses. So if you are trying to improve your strict press for a very heavy bell, this is a really good one for you. Then we're going to take some single bell chest presses on the floor for exercise number 3. So let's get started. We're going to take gorilla rows first of all. So I want you to grab your 2 bells. The rep count for this is going to be 2, 2, 3, 3, 4, 4. So you're going to take 2 bells, work 2 reps on one side, 2 reps on the other side, then straight into 3, 3 on both sides, then straight into 4, 4 on both sides. We're going to go in about 10 seconds time. So get yourself set up, drop your hips nice and low. We want this big sumo style stance over the top of our bells. And we're going to start that row in 3, 2, 1. So 2 reps on that first side. You're going to use this first round as a bit of a baseline. So I want you to think about how this weight is feeling for you, whether it's challenging enough for you so that you can make adjustments in round 2 and 3. Check in with your hips, make sure you're maintaining this challenging position as you work through the rows. So 2, 2, 3, 3, and then 4, 4 to finish. And then we're going to give a good 45 seconds recovery after each one of these movements. Okay, so take your time as you wrap up those rows, and I'm going to quickly show you the swing clean to press before we get into that movement. So you're going to take a single bell. We're going to work alternating sides here. You're going to take a swing clean into a strict press, back to the floor to change sides. You're going to keep alternating sides throughout the whole time. You're going to take one strict press in each one of your presses throughout this movement. So think about your bell choice. It's a good opportunity to test yourself with a heavy bell for 1 rep here. Okay, let's get into position. We're going to get our hands on bells and hike this bell up to the first clean in 3, 2, 1. And you can work as quickly or as slowly as you like because we're just alternating sides for the whole time. As we bring the bell nicely to the clean position, we keep our lower body really tight as we press that bell overhead. Switching sides, being quick in the clean, really grinding up that press. Now you've got the push press if you need it. So if at any point you run out of steam with your strict press, if you're really pushing yourself with a challenging weight here, you might find that later on in the interval, things start to get a bit tricky. You can use that push press if you need to. We're nearly there. So finish up this last rep on the final side and bring the bell back down to the floor to take some recovery. We're going to do a single bell chest press now. So I want you to think about going pretty heavy for this. We're going to be laying on our back, pressing a bell for 45 seconds. So come down into position, laying next to your bell. You're just going to roll over and grab the kettlebell as best you can. Getting into position with this is pretty tricky, but once we're here, we're all good. So you should be holding the kettlebell by the ball of the bell. Bring your feet up towards your bum, resting your head on the ground. And we're going to go in 3, 2, and 1. So you're just pressing the bell up, full extension at the top, bringing it back down towards your chest. Driving it up, keeping those elbows nice and narrow so the elbows are just coming down by your ribs in the bottom of that position. Pressing the bell above you and bringing it down. So these should feel pretty easy to begin with, and you can play with the pace if you like to. So if you want to work a little bit quicker and really push on with your reps, then you can do now. We've got about 10 more seconds to go, so really try and make the most of the time. If you're really not feeling this enough, then speed things up now so that by the time you get to the end of the time, we are feeling pretty fatigued in our upper body. Okay, let's rest and roll the bell onto the side and make your way up to your feet. Okay, so we've done one run through. 2 more rounds to work through. So think about your bell choices based on how everything went for you in round 1. We're going to go back to our gorilla rows. So either increasing the weight or working with that pacing, right? So if the bells aren't super heavy, you can take a little bit more time in the row, okay, to really put your muscles under tension for a little bit longer. If you've got mixed weights, you can swap them around as well. We're going to go in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So work that 2, 2, first of all, and a 3, 3, then a 4, 4. Really pushing into that bell that is on the floor as you're lifting the other one. Trying to pull that bell up so you're getting a full range of motion, bringing that bell really close to your chest. Keeping that lower body in position, checking in, resetting your body, resetting those hips if you need to, and then getting back to the rows. Finishing off that 4, 4. And then taking some recovery once you're finished. You definitely get a lower body challenge in the gorilla row as much as you do the upper body. So well done for working through those. We are going to go back to our swing clean to press. I'm going to give you an additional rep to try with this swing clean to press. So you're going to swing clean for 1 and press for 2, alternating sides. If you want to stick with that 1 and 1, you absolutely can. It's absolutely up to you based on what you want to work on. I'm going to take 2 reps here of my swing clean to press. So I'm going to get set up, get my hands on bells, ready to clean it up. In 3, 2, 1. So swing clean fast to the rack, push into the floor, add that press, full extension in the strict press. Taking your time as you come down. Also, another good way to increase your strength for your strict press is to take more care in that down phase. So don't feel like you have to rush these. You can take some time as that bell comes down. You can feel a lot of good core engagement there as well. And working quick in the clean, right? So quick clean, and then we really grind out those strict presses. I want you to think about pushing downwards with your feet as you're pressing in that opposite direction. We're nearly here. So I want you to finish up on this final side with your final 2 presses and then take your recovery before we get back down onto the floor and hit those single bell chest presses again. So have a think about how round 1 felt for you. If it wasn't challenging enough, you need to add some load. I'm going to give you another modification that you can take to maybe make it a little bit more challenging. So let's get into position this time. If you want to lift your hips as you're pressing the bell, you could do that as well. So let's get into position. We're going to go in about 10 seconds time. So get yourself ready, head rested on the ground, feet up towards your bum, Holding that bell securely and starting the press in 3, 2, 1. So pushing the bell away, bringing it down. If you want to have a play with lifting those hips and keeping them high as you press that weight, take it on. And again, just taking care as the bell comes down. You could take really slow down phase and a faster up phase. Just play with the intensity, the pace. That's another way that you can make things feel more challenging by not just rushing through the reps. Well done. We are almost there. Ready to wrap up in 3, 2, and 1. Bring those hips down, bell comes down, look after it, just roll it off your belly onto the side and make our way up onto our feet. And we have got one more round to go. All right, let's really push on now, gorilla rows. We're gonna finish this final set of gorilla rows by doing alternating gorilla rows. So you'll take your 2 bells and this time you are simply trying to stay in this nice deep position that we're used to, but this time we are going to alternate our gorilla rows for the full 45 seconds. For our swing to clean to strict press, we're going to take on 3 reps if you want to, and we're going to finish with those chest presses for our final exercise. Plus I've got a little 1-minute finisher for you. All right, so let's get set up with our bells for our final set of rows, alternating those reps as we go. Ready to go. 3, 2, and 1. Really keep those knees out the way. We want a really wide stance. My feet are set back just slightly behind the bells. Keeping my knees out the way. Dropping my hips, pushing into that bell that's on the floor, grinding out those reps, really pulling the bell up as high as you can. Well done, we are almost there. Ready to rest in 3, 2, 1. Get that last rep done and stand up. Take some recovery. Swing clean to press. 3 reps of that strict press is there for you if you want to take it. Remember, you've got that push press if you need it. So if you get to the point you've done 2 and you're like, I want to do 3, right? Use that push press to help you. Grab your bell. If you'd rather work 2 reps or 1 rep, you've got that available to you as well. Okay, here we go. 3, 2, and 1. Fast swing clean into that press. Maybe now it's the last round. We're trying to rep these out a little bit quicker. And when we get that bell down to the floor, we're trying to get it back up to the rack on the other side, nice and swiftly as well. Adding these 3 reps means we're going to get less of those swing cleans in, but let's try and make them snappy when we get the opportunity to do so. Great stuff. We've got about 10 seconds left, so try to finish up your final side, pushing down into the floor, grinding out those last really challenging reps for you. Well done. Resting in 3, 2, and 1. Final chest press on the floor. Let's go for it. Take on a challenging bell, maybe something a little bit heavier. I'm just looking for my heavy bell. And I'm going to give this a try now. So maybe I'll do less reps with my heavy bell. All right, but it's just playing with the different weights. All right, changing the pace of things, getting set up. You can lift your hips if you'd like to. We are going to go in 3, 2, and 1. Press and lower. And you can float between the 2. So maybe you start with your hips down and then you can come and find that hip bridge position if you like that option. Think about dragging your heels close to your bum to really engage your hamstrings and glutes. Well done. We've got about 10 more seconds to go. So really put in the effort here. Maybe finding some pace here towards the end as we press that bell for these final few reps. Trying to find that point where we get to fatigue and resting in 3, 2, and 1. Okay, let's get up for the last time and find a couple of bells because we're going to take on a 1-minute finisher here. Now your bells don't need to be super heavy for this because we're going to be taking on a double bell push press for 1 whole minute. So you're going to take 2 bells from the floor, bring them up into the rack position. Bring your feet close underneath you, bend and punch, secure the weight, soft knees as the bells come down. And we're going to work through that for a minute. If you want to do single bell push press, you can absolutely do that. I'll give you a little cue at 30 seconds so that you can switch sides. You can do that through a nice little swing, all right, and get it back onto the other side. Okay, we're gonna go very soon in about 10 seconds time. So get set up behind the bells and come into position for that nice, sharp, fast clean up to the rack. Let's get the bells up in 3, 2, and 1. So bells up into position, feet come underneath us. We're gonna start the push presses now, taking your time. So the pace at what you work for throughout this whole minute is absolutely up to you. I like to spend a little bit of time overhead and a little bit of time in the rack after each push press. I like to spend some time with the bells overhead to get a bit more time under tension. But it's also just a nice way of making sure you get through the whole minute. Okay, if you're doing single bell push presses, you want to start switching sides right about now. If you're still here with me with this double push press, keep going. If it gets too much, you bring the bells to the rack and you just continue to march or hold those bells in place. You can also do that with the bells overhead if you want to cancel out the push press element. But we have got 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And we are gladly putting those bells down. Okay, well done. Take your bells to the side. Make sure you've got a really nice safe space just to have a little bit of a cool down. We're just gonna take one arm, bring it across our body and take a little twist to the corner of the room. Trying to catch that breath after that little minute of double push presses. Well done if you hung on to those bells for that whole minute. Quite a challenging last thing to take on. Good. And just take some time to have a little bit of a reflection as we just have a little stretch here. So take your fingers back behind you. Press those arms out for full extension, standing nice and tall. Just bringing the arms up as we keep looking forward. So we don't want to start to round, we just want to start to still stand really nice and tall at the top of this stretch. Just opening up that chest, giving it a nice stretch in the opposite direction to what we've been doing with that chest press when we were on the floor. So bring the hands together this time at the front, interlace the fingers, push those arms out in front of you, round the shoulders looking down at the toes this time. Big deep breath. Hopefully you're feeling like your upper body has definitely had a little bit of a pump, okay, which is the intention for this upper focused, shorter express session where you can really start to give your upper body a little bit of focus around a lot of the full body stuff that we do. So I hope you enjoyed that. We're going to take 3 circles to finish. Please take some additional stretches if you feel like you need them. And it was lovely to have you along on this express session, and I'll see you on the next one.